Little Secrets of Controlling Your Opponent in Hand-to-Hand Combat. Video 3. How to switch from defense to attack in no time. In this series of videos we uncover little but important secrets of the Kadochnikov system, without which it is quite possible your training will turn into a useless imitation or a warrior dance. You'll understand why and how to behave correctly in a situation of conflict and come out victorious. You don't have to fight your opponent, but control them instead. We'll share the secrets of controlling your opponent in hand-to-hand combat, which will raise your chances of winning in any situation in your life. The first video introduced you to the simple way of relieving any attack, including the ones with cold steel, because the first task of ours is to prevent being hit. The only skill you need for that is relieving any attack, softly taking them into the plane of attack, using the turnover, the paradox from the first video, lead it over the plane of your body. This is your first basic skill. The second video told you how to relieve holds and put your opponent into an uncomfortable position in the very first seconds of the interaction. This video will teach you how to switch from defense to attack in no time, and tell you why this skill is so important in hand-to-hand combat. Soon enough we'll continue to the practical view of this skill, but before we go deeper, let us briefly introduce you to the concept of pro-ballistic forecasting. This scientific approach to the peculiarities of our perception, memory and reasoning plays an important part in practical mastering of the skills in the Kadochnikov system. In short, its principle can be expressed as seeing, foreseeing, acting. Seeing with your eyes, foreseeing with your brain, and acting on the basis of the right motor skills. What does this mean in connection with controlling your opponent in hand-to-hand combat? First of all, we use not the relation of two forces, danger, fight or flight reaction, but a combination of three. We do not passively adjust to a situation, but actively influence and control it to solve the tasks at hand. We don't bet on a one knockout attack, but continually place the opponent in such inconvenient positions that allow us with impunity to deliver as many blows to him as needed. In other words, we don't put all our strength in one attack or a swing by the do or die principle. Instead, we foresee the different ways of development of the situation, and we are ready for that, because we can switch from defense to attack practically in no time, thanks to controlling the point of contact with the opponent, which we can use to influence him for as long as needed to solve the task of suppressing or neutralizing him. Let us examine several instances of this principle at work. Don't be surprised that in practice it takes only seconds, because when the necessary skills are fine-tuned, the majority of the actions are performed on autopilot.
Is it a spot or not? It isn't. Let's look at it the other way. So to speak, a soldier must be a sportsman. A sportsman mustn't be a soldier. Nothing complicated, but lots of sense. A soldier is a soldier. He won't become a sportsman as he has to fight. A sportsman can be a soldier. The goals are different. It seems to be a pun, but it's a sensible one. Each soldier nowadays is a sportsman, not a warrior. They wear a uniform, they serve, but they are sportsmen. They run and they jump. They are sportsmen. If we take the sportsman soldier in an actual situation, he will act like a sportsman. However, the rules that are common for a sportsman won't work out of the gym, on the battlefield, on the areas of the action of warriors. A good military man, however, has to be sporty. He mustn't be a sportsman, but has to be athletic. The same is here. A sportsman is good at something else. What we do here helps a person to understand the way he stands, how stable he is, how we can make him lose his balance, but twisting his arms. One can get to know how to meet an attack, how to distribute forces, pressure and masses. Alexei Alexeyevich is going to proceed with explaining some points of hydraulics, the air pressure, and telling about vacuum, leverage, physics and mechanics. All this theory is applied here. As we switch from the forces to the hydraulics, we can as well look into the circulatory system, arterial pressure, and everything. That works the same as those pipes over there. All the stations, substations, and pumps work as our heart, stomach, intestines, the low and high pressure. Everything is included, intertwined in a complex system of a human body, including bones, muscles, head, and the brain. Hydraulics works there too. Sport is nothing in comparison to it, though it may look alike. Now that we've trained how to knock off balance and all of you have understood your weak points and the use of this, despite the idea of just kicking and hitting. Well, I exaggerate, of course. What are we going to do now? I get free from his hold. What's getting free from a hold? It's the same distribution of forces, it's just the application of it is more local. I get my wrists together. The bones in my arms are solid objects and can act as levers. I can use these levers. The arms have their own characteristics, for example, the diameter. Keeping the characteristics in mind, you can use leverage to achieve your goal. You get free from his hold and start your counterattack. Hit. Shift your position. And now his throat is open for your kick. After the kick, hold his arms. If he slides away, just grab it. Ha! Now I can pull it and use my knee. Finally, I use my heel. Alexei Alexeyevich frequently mentions that these movements are based on the same principle as a crank gear and a drive shaft. Do you know what a drive shaft is? Do you know what it is? It's a long thingamy with cross pieces on the ends. It's a long hollow shaft made of iron, which consists of two pipes and slots. That's how a drive shaft looks like. It stretches and contracts. What's the function of slots? They prevent those pipes from rotating. The pipes are in the slots and move along it only. At each end of the drive shaft has cross pieces. Well, these cross pieces enable it to work at different angles. When there is a certain load or weight, the drive shaft of a car will either stretch or become longer or contract or become shorter. Up, shorter. Down, longer. Cross pieces change the angles. Same principle is here. That's how the principle of drive shaft, of its mechanism, can be applied here. You went round a certain point, rotated a certain lever. As you have a point of applied force, you can use his mass and push him so that he falls. When trying to knock somebody off the balance and panicking that you don't even know why you're doing this, remember that this is an element of other maneuvers. Look how I apply the force. When I push his neck, I have to pull his arm up, as his arm's supposed to work as a lever. I hinder myself if I put my arm in the way. When I combine both pulling and pushing, down he goes. The main action is pushing his mass down. The auxiliary action is pulling his arm up. I apply the understanding and the vision of my own to this particular situation. I assess the situation, saw the opportunity, and used it. When the result is negative, you just have to change the approach, to use the rules and laws. For example, I can hit his hand to get free. That's one way to solve the problem. Even this can be done differently, but as the starting point of my motion was here, Well, I had to hit him from this position. The only thing that is left to do for me now is to create a point of contact, step closer to him, and turn. The position that seemed unfavorable to me can still be turned to my use. I change the algorithm of movements as the situation changes. It can't be learned by heart. What have you done right now? Could you please repeat it, Alexei Alexeyevich? It can be repeated as the situation at that moment gave the opportunity to use a particular algorithm. I'm pulling. Let him pull my arm, try to sit down, and the odds turn against me because I went down too early. However, even if I sit down in such situation, I can fix it. I can pull his arm down and use his elbow to push him on the floor. Your objective is to find the open area that allows for changing your position or his position in such a way that you could use some maneuvering